Hello everyone, good morning. Let us start with the LTC AIMS Unit Test 2 solution. First question is maximum number of electrons possible with n is equal to 4 and m is equal to minus 2. Okay. Now, in this case, for n is equal to 4, you will have to first look at the values of L. Okay. So, what are the values of L? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So, the values of ML will be, we know that they are from minus L to plus L. So, for 2, the values will be minus 2 to plus 2, and for 3 the values of ml will be minus 3 to plus 3. Okay, so there will be two values of m. So there will be two values of m, right? M is equal to minus 2, 1 m is equal to minus 2 here, and 1 m is equal to minus 2 here, right? Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so two values. Now you should know that each m value represents an orbital. So how many orbitals are there with m is equal to minus 2 value? 2. Okay, and so we know the number of electrons is 2 orbitals multiplied by 2 electrons per orbital, that is 4. So correct answer becomes 4. All right, next question. The configuration violates which rule? Okay, you can see here in 2p subshell the electrons are having antiparallel spins. Okay, but electrons in one subshell should have parallel spins, and when the pairing begins only then electrons can have one parallel and one antiparallel. So the answer becomes A, it violates Hund's rule. Next question, de Broglie wavelength of a particle of mass 10 raised to minus 24 gram. Okay, so what is the formula for de Broglie wavelength? Lambda is equal to h by mv. Let us substitute the given values. 6.626 into 10 raised to the power minus 34 joules second. That is the value of h, divided by mass, right? Mass is given in gram, but we know we have to substitute SI units. In kilogram, we'll divide it by 1000. Okay, so the mass will become 10 raised to the power minus 27 kilogram. All right, and the velocity is 10 raised to the minus 10 to the power 3 meter per second. All right, so this will become minus 24, and when you take this 10 raised to minus 24 in the numerator, this becomes 10 to minus 34 plus 24. Okay, so this becomes 10 raised to the power minus 10. Is that clear? So the value of x is 10. All right, so this is the correct answer. Number of radial nodes in 5d orbital. Now, what is radial node equal to? Radial nodes are given by n minus l minus 1. Okay, so for 5d orbital, number of radial nodes is n is equal to 5 minus, for d orbital the value of l is 2, right? L0 is equal to 1, L1 equals to, L0 is equal to s orbital, L is equal to 1 equals p orbital, L is equal to 2 equals d orbital. Okay, so L is equal to 2 is for d orbitals. 2 minus 1, so it is 1, right? So how many radial nodes are there in 5d orbital? 2. Okay, now find out. The correct answer is 3s. You can find out in all of them. I'm doing it for the correct answer. The number of radial nodes is 3 minus L value for s is 0 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2, right? So there are 2 radial nodes in 3s. Likewise, you can find out in 5p how many radial nodes are there. 5 minus the value of L for p orbital is 1 minus 1. So it is 5 minus 1 minus 1. It is 3. So that cannot be the correct answer. Likewise for all of them. Okay. Next question, velocity of X-rays is greater than the velocity of UV rays? No, the velocities of all electromagnetic radiations are equal, right? In vacuum, it is equal to 3 lakh kilometer per second. So statement 1 is incorrect. A specific charge of electron is greater than the specific charge of proton. This statement is correct because a specific charge is equal to charge divided by mass, right? Any specific of anything is that thing divided by mass. Okay, now charge, the magnitude of charge on electron and proton is equal, you know that, guys. What about mass? Mass of electron is less than the mass of proton, right? Electron is lighter than proton, so because denominator is small, so the fraction will become large. So the specific charge of electron is greater, right? So this becomes our correct answer. The product of uncertainty of velocity and uncertainty in position is maximum. Now, this is based on Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which says delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, right? I can write delta p as m delta v, guys. Okay, and for purpose I can take it to be equal for numerical purpose. Okay, so h upon 4 pi, and he's talking about uncertainty in velocity and uncertainty in position, right? Delta v and delta x. So delta x into delta v is equal to h upon 4 pi m. So you can see the product of uncertainties in position and velocity depends inversely on the mass of particle. Okay. So now they are asking the product is maximum. So for the product to be maximum, mass should be minimum. So you can check out which is having the minimum mass 10 raised to minus 31. So that becomes our correct answer. Is that clear, guys? Next question. Oxidation states of lead in Pb3O4. So Pb3O4 is a mixed oxide. You guys should know that, and it is a mixture of PbO and PbO2. Okay, lead shows two oxidation states, namely +2 and +4. Okay, so this is +2 and this is +4, right? So one lead is in +4 oxidation state, other two lead are in +2 oxidation state. So this becomes our correct answer. Weight of 20% pure limestone which liberates 4.4 grams of carbon dioxide. Let's start by writing the equation. Limestone is calcium carbonate. It gives you calcium oxide plus CO2. Okay. Now the stoichiometric relation is 1:1. If 1 mole of limestone breaks down, decomposes, then we end up getting 1 mole of CO2. Okay. Now for the mass of 1 mole of calcium carbonate is 100 grams, guys, and the mass of 1 mole carbon dioxide is 44 gram. Okay, so if you want 4.4 gram of carbon dioxide, that is 0.1 mole, right? 4.4 is 1/10 of the molar mass. So obviously for that you need 10 gram of limestone, 10 gram of calcium carbonate. But the problem is that limestone is 20% pure. Okay, so technically let us suppose the mass required is x gram. Technically let us suppose the mass required is x gram. Okay, so I can say 20% of this mass required should be equal to 10 gram. Am I right? Okay. Supposing I need x gram, then 20, because it is 20% pure, so 20% of the mass of limestone should be equal to the 10 gram which I actually need. Okay. So this is 20x upon 100 is equal to 10. This cancels out, so you will find that x is equal to 50 grams. So that becomes our correct answer. Okay. Number of electrons present in 1.6 gram of oxide ion. So oxide means monoxide here. It has 10 electrons per ion. 1.6 gram is number of moles you can find out. Mass divided by molar mass. So this comes out to be 0.1 mole, right? So 0.1 mole of oxide ion we have, and there are 10 electrons per oxide ion. So the total number of electrons is 0.1 mole, right, multiplied by 10 electrons. So this basically becomes 1 mole, that is the value of Avogadro number, which we all know. In the redox titration of potassium permanganate with reducing agent, the gram equivalent weight of permanganate is found to be 158 gram. Now you guys should know, because it is a very important oxidizing agent, the molar mass of KMnO4 is 158. Okay, right, and the equivalent weight is also 158. Now do you guys know the relation between equivalent weight and molar mass? Equivalent weight is equal to molar mass divided by n factor, now obviously if equivalent weight is equal to the molar mass, then n factor must be 1, right? It should only gain 1 electron, and which happens in strongly alkaline medium. Okay, so I can tell you the equation here also. Permanganate, which is in +7 state, it just gains 1 electron per ion, and it gives you manganate ion. Okay, MnO4 2 minus. Here the oxidation state of manganese is +6, so it is just gained 1 electron. Okay, so this happens in strongly alkaline medium. All right. Next, 1 liter of nitric oxide reacts with excess of oxygen. Nitric oxide means NO. When it reacts with oxygen, it gives us NO2. Right. Now balance this equation. Yes, balanced. 1 liter of nitric oxide reacts with excess of oxygen to produce V liters of nitrogen dioxide. Now, as per the stoichiometry of the reaction, 2 moles of NO gives 2 moles of NO2. That is, the ratio is 1:1. So, if you take 1 liter of nitric oxide, you will get 1 liter of nitrogen dioxide. It's that simple, right? So, the answer is 1. Consider the following reaction. The values of X, Y, and Z are respectively. Then you will have to balance this reaction. Okay. Permanganate is in +7 state here, and manganese in +2. It's gaining 5 electrons, whereas iron is going from +2 to +3. It is only losing 1 electron. Okay. So the loss in electron is 1, whereas the gain in electrons is 5. Now in any chemical equation, electrons are always conserved. So let us multiply this by 5. Is that clear? So the loss is 5, the value of y is 5. That is okay. The option 1 and 2 are ruled out. And after that, x is 1, right? X is 1 because we don't have to multiply it by any number. So x is 1. So that gives us correct answer. Okay, but I'll tell you the complete balancing. So 1 permanganate, 5 ferrous ion over here. Now then we balance the oxygen because here we have 4 oxygen atoms. So they should be 4. C should be 4. Alright guys. And because C is 4, so how many hydrogen on the product side? 8. So obviously hydrogen atoms must also be balanced. So the value of Z is 8. So this becomes our correct answer. The species in which the underlined element has least oxidation state. You can find out the number of bonds with more electronegative minus number of bonds with less electronegative. That is how you can find out the oxidation state. Okay. Otherwise, normally also you can do that. So it is +1, it is -1. So if you calculate, this will come out to be +2. Okay. This will come out to be +2. Here it will come out to be -3. Here sulfur will come out to be -2, and here it will be +3. So the correct answer will be ammonium cation, in which nitrogen has -3 oxidation state. Okay. All the following are disproportionation. What happens in disproportionation? An atom in one oxidation state simultaneously oxidizes and reduces, right? So we have to tell the equation which is not a disproportionation. So obviously for that you have to find out the oxidation numbers, right? So this will be +3 +5 oxidation, and from +3 to -3 reduction. Okay. But here in this case, you will notice that the oxidation state of manganese is 7. Now, KMnO4 is an oxidizing agent. It cannot act as a reducing agent because it is already in its highest oxidation state. So that way it is clear, but also we can verify. Okay, here it is +6 and here it is +4. In both the species, manganese is undergoing reduction. Okay, so rest you can check out. Rest are disproportionation. Rest are disproportionation. So second becomes our correct answer. 1 mole of a hydrocarbon CXHY requires how many moles of oxygen for complete combustion to produce X moles of CO2 and 0.5 Y moles of water liquid? Okay, right now CXHY, okay, it gives, let us write the equation. CXHY, it reacts with oxygen and it gives you CO2. Obviously, by the principle of atom conservation, if the hydrocarbon has X carbon atom, we should get X molecules of carbon dioxide. And then if you have Y atoms of hydrogen, then how many molecules of water should be formed? Y by 2, guys. Y by 2, because each molecule of water contains 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay. Now let us see, the number of oxygen required is 2x, right? 2x atoms of oxygen from carbon dioxide, and y by 2 atoms of oxygen from water, right? But oxygen comes as a diatomic molecule. So obviously each molecule contains 2 atoms. So we'll have to divide this number by 2. Okay. So this will give us x plus y by 4. Clear, guys? Lead oxide in this reaction behaves as, you can check out the oxidation state. It is +2 here and also +2 here. There is no oxidation reduction of lead, so it is just acting as a base because the other species is an acid. Is that clear? Right? Intermolecular forces operating in chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is a non-polar species, right? Because it contains a covalent bond between two similar atoms. Now, the only type of attractive force between two non-polar species is London or dispersion force, which is the weakest intermolecular force. We have to check the validity of these statements. Thermal stability of barium carbonate is less than beryllium carbonate. No, this is incorrect. Down the group, the stability of carbonates increases because cation becomes larger in size, and now it is able to stabilize carbonate ion. Okay, so first statement is incorrect. Actually, barium carbonate is more stable. Solubility of barium sulfate is less than beryllium sulfate. That is true. Beryllium sulfate is more stable because of the hydration enthalpy of beryllium ion, right? It is a very small cation, so it will release large amount of heat when it is dissolved in water. So that is how it undergoes dissolution. So statement is 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. Okay. At 1200 Kelvin, hybridization of beryllium in beryllium chloride is, so you should know that in solid phase, The hybridization of beryllium atom is sp3. When you heat it and when it first goes in the vapor phase, then the hybridization of beryllium is sp2 trigonal planar, and ultimately if you heat it at 1200 Kelvin or beyond, then it exists as monomer, right? The molecule which we first study, so the hybridization is sp. Is that clear, guys? You have to identify the incorrect statement. Sodium is stored in kerosene oil. Yes, due to its high reactivity. Sodium hydride is an ionic solid. Yes, it's a typical metal hydride, so it will be an ionic solid. Blue color of the solution of sodium dissolved in liquid ammonia is due to ammoniated ions. No, it is because of the ammoniated electrons, right? The blue color is because of the ammoniated electrons. And peroxides are oxidizing agent. Yes, because the oxidation state of oxygen is -1, right? So statement C is the only incorrect statement. Excess of sulfate concentration in drinking water causes laxative effect. This is a question from environmental chemistry. This is a factual one. Which of the following statements is incorrect? Lithium chloride is deliquescent. Correct. Sodium carbonate is used to remove hardness of water. Yes. Cesium fluoride has the highest negative enthalpy of formation. No. Actually, fluorides do have, but cesium is a large cation. Okay. So the answer will be LIF. So this is an incorrect statement. Okay. Potassium hydroxide used in manufacture of soft soaps. Yes. So this is the only incorrect statement. Hybridization is not sp2. So you have to find out the hybridizations and you'll see that in sulfite ion the hybridization is sp3, right? It's like this. So it's sp3 hybridized. So this is a correct answer. Among the following molecules, the molecule in which the central atom has least number of lone pair of electrons. So again, you'll have to find out the structure. So bromine has 7 valence electrons, 5 are distributed in the bonding electrons, right? So we have 2 unshared electrons, that is 1 lone pair. That is how you can do it, okay? So there is 1 lone pair. In XZF4, 4 electrons are distributed, 4 are left. So there is 2 lone pairs. In XZF2, out of 8 valence electrons on xenon, 2 are distributed. So we left behind with 3 lone pairs, and chlorine 7 electrons, 3 are distributed, 4 are left unshared. Okay, so there are 2 lone pairs. So the correct answer is 1 lone pair, because he's asking about the minimum, least number of lone pairs. Okay. Lithium carbonate decomposes on heating. Yes, lithium polarizes carbonate ion, and the more stable lithium monoxide is formed, right? And with evolution of CO2 gas. So this statement is correct. Lithium hydrogen carbonate is not obtained in the solid form, right? In group one elements, lithium hydrogen carbonate is the only bicarbonate which cannot be obtained in the solid form. It exists in the aqueous solution only. So this becomes a correct answer. Which one of the following paramagnetic species is a bond order of 1? Okay, this question is from molecular orbital theory. B2 does not exist. You can find out its bond order is 0. O2 is paramagnetic, but it contains a double bond. Everybody knows that. C2 also contains a double bond. As far as B2 is concerned, yes, it has 2 unpaired electrons. I can show you that. It's sigma 1 is 2, sigma star 1 is 2, sigma 2 is 2, sigma star 2 is 2, and pi 2px1 and pi 2py1. Okay, so there are 2 bonding electrons, so there is 1 bond, and yes, it is paramagnetic because of 2 unpaired electrons. Clear, guys? The hardest first group element is lithium, because the metallic bonding becomes weaker down the group, hardness decreases or softness increases. Which of the following statements about oxides of group 14 is correct? Carbon monoxide is neutral, CO2 is acidic. Yes, germanium oxide is an acidic oxide, SNO2 is amphoteric oxide. Okay. Incorrect statement. Graphite is soft and slippery. Yes, that is why it is used in pencils. Fullerene is used as a black pigment. No, it is incorrect. The carbon black is the substance that is used here. So this is the incorrect statement. Both of these are correct. On a small scale, pure carbon monoxide is prepared by the dehydration of formic acid. Because conc H2SO4 has a high affinity for water, so if you mix concentrated H2SO4 to formic acid, it will take out water from it. Okay, it will take out water. What will be left behind is carbon monoxide gas. On a small scale, in laboratory, we prepare it like that. Okay, so this becomes a correct answer. The chain length of silicon polymers can be controlled by, see, for example, this is my propagating chain. Now chain length should be controlled when I add a monomer which stops the propagation, right? So it should be able to bond only from one side, all three sides should be blocked. So this is that, okay, because it contains three methyls which cannot propagate the chain because carbon silicon bond is strong, but this bond can be hydrolyzed. Once it attaches to a chain, the propagation of chain stops. That is why we call it chain terminating unit also. The number of planar atoms in diborane molecules is, diborane structure like this. There are four terminal hydrogen atoms. Okay, guys, and the two boron atoms, they lie in one plane. So basically, this you can consider as a molecular plane. And then there are two bridging hydrogen atoms. There are two bridging hydrogen atoms like this. Is that clear? So how many atoms in one plane? Two boron and four terminal. So the answer becomes six. This is above the plane and this is below the plane. Aluminum chloride in acidified aqueous solution forms a complex air. The hybridization of aluminum, the complexes. So basically, when you dissolve aluminum chloride in HCl, it becomes like this, right? Acidified aqueous solution, right? So we can say it becomes like this. So it's an octahedral complex. So the hybridization is sp3d2. Correct? This process is most feasible when aluminium, right? Because of the high hydration enthalpy of aluminum, readily forms aluminum 3 plus ion. Clear? The correct decreasing order of melting points in 13 group elements. So yes, boron has the highest melting point. It is supposed to have highest, then it decreases down the group. But then thallium, these are exceptions. Okay, thallium has a little higher melting point than expected, as well as indium. Right, gallium has least melting point. Right, is approximately 30 degrees Celsius. The melting point for gallium. Okay. In a hydrogen atom, the radial distance between successive orbits is minimum. So, what is the formula for radius? It is a naught n square by z, and so obviously the distance will be proportional to n square, right? Because other two are constants. Z is also constant. For hydrogen, z is equal to 1. We are asking about the minimum distance. So basically, n2 square minus n1 square should be minimum. Okay, so 2 square minus 1 square is 3. You can check that. Okay, 3 square minus 2 square is 5. You can do like that. So the minimum gap is between 1 and 2. Okay, so that becomes a correct answer. Wavelength of second line of Balmer series in hydrogen spectrum is lambda 1. Okay, so let us first calculate the bracket quaternion, right? 1 upon n2 square minus 1 upon n1 square, okay? So second line of Balmer series. Balmer series is when the electron drops in the second orbit, like Lyman, Balmer, Passman bracket form. So electron drops in the second orbit. It will start at least from third orbit and fourth and so on. The question is, that second line of Balmer series. Okay, so this is our first line, this is our second line. So the transition is 4 to 2. Is that clear? Okay, so this will be 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon 4 square. You can check, this is 1 upon 4 minus 1 upon 16. So this is 16, 3 by 16. Is that clear? This is 3 by 16. And wavelength of first line of Lyman series. Lyman series is when the electron drops in first orbit. Okay, so this is second, right? So the first line is from 2 to 1. So this is 1 upon 1 square minus 1 upon 2 square. So this is basically 3 by 4. Is that clear? This is 3 by 4. Now the ratio of lambda 1 by lambda 2. Now you should know that this is for energy. For wavelength, it is reciprocal. Okay, so for wavelength, I will do reverse, right? 2 by 1. So this is 3 by 4 and 3 by 16, right? So this is 16 is to 4, which is basically 4 is to 1, guys. Okay, so this becomes a correct answer. Okay, 5 metals have the work function as these. How many of these metals can show photoelectric effect when each of them is bombarded with a radiation of 200 nanometer? So basically we have to find out the energy in electron volt, right? We know that only those photons which have energy at least equal to the work function, only they can eject electron from the metal surface. So this is hc by lambda. The value of hc is approximately 2 into 10 to minus 25. Okay, and the value of lambda is 200 nanometer, which is 2 into 10 to minus 7. So this is 10 to the power minus 18 joule. Now if you convert it into electron volts, then this is this, right? Joule per electron volt. Is that clear, guys? 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 joule per electron volt. So this will come out to be 10 divided by 1.6. So I think it will come out to be 6.1 or 2 something. Okay, electron volt. So which metals can eject electron? Can give electron? This can give. This can give. And this can give. Okay, 8 and 7, their work function is more than the energy of the incident photon, so they will not be able to give electrons. So that becomes our correct answer. Okay, maximum number of atoms are present in, so obviously you have to multiply the number of moles by the atomicity. So in this case it is 0.1 multiplied by 4, it is 0.4. Right here you find out the volume, 1.12 divided by 22.4. So it is how much? It's 1 by 20, that is 0.05. It is multiplied by 5, that is 0.25. And that is how you can do in all cases. Okay, so this will come out to be the maximum. Okay, so because 0.5 moles and there are 3 atoms, so this will give you the maximum number of atoms, 1.5 mole. Correct. An organic compound contains 2.22% hydrogen, 26.6% by weight of carbon, and remaining oxygen. So it is simple. You just find out the molar ratio. Okay, you just find out the molar ratio. For carbon, it is 26.67 divided by 12. Right, the molar ratio is number of mass divided by molar mass. Okay. For hydrogen, it is 2.22 divided by 1, and the remaining will be oxygen. Right, 100 minus 26.67 plus 2.22 divided by 16. So I hope we can find that out. This will come out to be 1 is to 2, right? So this will be your correct answer. 0.2 gram equivalents of a dibasic acid dissolved in V liter of solution gives 0.05 molar solution. You have to find out the value of V. So let us apply the formula for normality. Normality is number of gram equivalents divided by volume of solution liter. You should also remember that normality is equal to molarity multiplied by n factor. Okay, so basically this is the formula, right? Now for dibasic acid, for acids, n factor is equal to number of replaceable hydrogen atoms. So molarity is how much do we require molarity here? 0.2 gram equivalents of, yes, yeah, molarity is given 0.05 molar multiplied by n factor, dibasic acid, so it will give 2 protons, n factor is 2, is equal to gram equivalents. How many gram equivalents are we dissolving? 0.2 gram equivalents divided by volume. Okay, so the volume will be 0.2 divided by, this is 0.1, so it's 2 liter. Okay guys, in modern periodic table, highest oxidation state. Okay, so for group 8 elements, which is the iron family, maximum oxidation state is +8. You should know that the stability of highest oxidation state increases down the group in D block elements. So iron will rarely show an oxidation state of +8 in any compound, but if you go down the group, then osmium, yes, it shows in osmium tetroxide an oxidation state of +8 in a stable state. Okay, for group 7 it will be +7, for group 17 again it will be +7, for group 16 it will be +6. So that becomes our correct answer, the highest oxidation state. Is that clear guys? Okay, then next question, you have to identify the correct statement from the following. Okay, both 1s and 2s have same number of nodal planes. Yes, they are 0 because nodal planes is angular nodes and angular nodes is L. So the value of L for s orbital is 0. Chromium shows anomalous configuration. Yes guys, it is 3d5 4s1 instead of the expected configuration 3d4 4s2, right? Because half filled subshell is more stable. In hydrogen atom, the energy of orbital depends on value of principal quantum number only. Yes, actually for all one electron systems, the energy of electron depends on the first quantum number only. Okay. Bohr's theory cannot explain Zeeman effect. Yes, the splitting of spectral lines in magnetic field. This is what Zeeman effect, it cannot explain that. Okay. So all statements are correct. You have to identify the metal which will undergo the following process. Okay. right? So metal nitrate is decomposing to metal nitrite. Now you should know that lithium shows a diagonal relationship with magnesium with good two elements. Okay, so it is like it gives us lithium monoxide, same with magnesium, same with barium, and same with calcium, right? But sodium and rubidium, they decompose as per this equation, generic equation, giving sodium nitrite and oxide, like rubidium nitrite and oxide. So this is the correct answer. This is a factual question, okay, guys. So its correct answer is third. Again, this is from environmental chemistry, so its correct option is 4. DDT is a pesticide, and sodium chlorate is a herbicide, like that. Okay. Again, the correct order of stability. You should know that stability is proportional to bond order, and if the bond order is same, then stability is inversely proportional to number of anti-bonding electrons. Okay. So let us do it for this. For lithium, it will be sigma 1 is 2, sigma star 1 is 2, and sigma 2 is 2, guys. So bond order will be half, and 4 bonding electrons and stars are unbonding electrons, so it will be 2, bond order is 1. So this will be most stable. Let's come to Li2 plus. Here you will take one electron out. Okay, so the bond order will be half. Right now you will have one less bonding electron, it is 3 minus 2, so it is 0.5. Okay, so definitely Li2 is more stable, and then Li2 plus. In Li2 minus, you'll have one more electron in sigma star 2s2. Okay, so the bond order will be half, and there is one more anti-bonding electron, so it is 4 minus 3. So again, it is half. Okay, so Li2 is most stable, and Li2 plus and Li2 minus both have a bond order of half. Now we will look at the number of anti-bonding electrons, because Li2 plus has only two anti-bonding electrons, right? Whereas Li2 minus has three anti-bonding electrons. There should be one, right? Okay. So this is less stable. Li2 minus is less stable. So the correct answer becomes then this, and then least stable is Li2 minus, because it has three anti-bonding electrons. Okay. Greater the number of anti-bonding electrons, lower the stability. Always remember that. This is a factual question. Cadmium is the most toxic metal, so obviously the most toxic water sample will be the one that contains cadmium. Yes, when the lobes of same sign overlap, it is a positive overlap. It doesn't matter whether the both lobes have negative sign. Okay. NH3 is more polar than NF3, but NH bond is less polar than NF bond. Yes, this is an interesting case. In NH3, all the bond dipoles point in the same direction, right? It is given in NCERT book also. It's a very common example. But in case of NF3, the bond dipoles point in opposite direction. Okay. So here it is like this. All of them add up to give the resultant dipole moment, but here they cancel. The bond dipoles, the resultant of the three NF bond dipoles points in the opposite direction to that of the bond dipole due to the lone pair, right? So NH3 is more polar, but NH bond is less polar because the electronegativity difference is small, right, between nitrogen as compared to that between nitrogen and fluorine. So this becomes our correct answer. So that's all for today. I hope you understood your doubts. Okay, so thank you.